This podcast was compared to The Witcher 3 out of 3 times.
Yeah.
Shows how creative we are. The Witcher grabbed me immediately and then lost me and then almost got me back, but then didn't.
The Witcher was long. Man, it felt like it would never end.
The Witcher had an interesting start.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to Fallingtower's Watch the First podcast, the podcast in which we watch the first episode of a series and we talk about it. So if you want us to watch the first episode of something and talk about it, just put in the comments below WTF Frasier or WTF Smurfs or WTF Battlestar Galactica, the reboot or the original. Somebody already requested the original. And then give us
Make sure to link us to where we can watch it, or because we couldn't find Battlestar Galactica the original. Sorry.
Yeah, or tell us it's on Hulu or TBS or Amazon or whatever, and we'll go from there. With us, as always, Mr. Michael Kenyon Rosenberg.
Yeah!
And our very special guest, actress Melissa Longo.
Hello.
My name's Ryan T. Husk. Sometimes I introduce myself, sometimes I forget, but here I am. And we're going to talk about The Witcher, Netflix's The Witcher, episode 1 called The End's Beginning. I wish the beginning was ending, though. Jesus. That's a good one.
That was your laugh. Good job.
Thanks. My laugh an hour. Melissa, I think it's safe to say all of us already, it feels like the elephant in the room is that all of us kind of were a little not too hot on this show. Am I right?
Well,
Disappointed?
as far as first episodes go, I did have to rewind it at points because I had lost focus and started doing something else while watching the show.
I just want to stop you there and say I also lost focus more than once, and it wasn't even because I was doing something else, and I got tired of rewinding and just kept going. Sorry, please continue.
And I'll say that I was watching the show with my wife, and both of us were just like, what the heck is going on?
Sorry, what were you saying?
Yeah, no, there were moments where I was like, wait, what's happening? Wait, who is this? And who are they?
Right.
And why is this scene happening? And what the is going? I mean, I had to do a little bit of background check after I watched it. I was like, or maybe it was during it. I don't know. But so it turns out this is based off of a video game. Okay. So that's already kind of, okay. Then it was turned into a book, but that's what it kind of felt like. It felt like a collection of scenes within a video game because it didn't seem like the scenes really related to each other. Like you're watching a scene and you're struggling to understand what's going on in that scene. And then suddenly there's another scene and you're like, I was starting to get like almost angry. I was like, I don't know what's happening. What's happening in this show?
Well, a great example of that, and this was like, when this happened, I was like, what are they doing? Who wrote this? Like, what's going on here? Is when the Witcher, Geralt, is talking to the sorcerer in the tower in that one town, Blavica or whatever it's called, Blaviken. And then all of a sudden, they cut to this town called Sintra that we eventually learn that the town is called Sintra. But there's like some kids playing dice in the streets or something like that. And then it just cuts back and like, so it has nothing to do, like usually if you're in a scene and then it cuts to something else, it's like, oh, and then I remember when we were back in Sintra and the kids were playing dice in the streets and then you cut there. But there was nothing like that happened.
Yeah, I don't think they did a very good job at introducing people and giving what was happening, a background or any kind of that. They were just showing you things,
Right.
expecting you to get it. And maybe they are expecting people who have played the game or read the book to already know who these people are, so they can just jump off. But somebody who's coming in to it new, it's a little confusing.
So let's give this show a fair shake. Let's give it a fair shake. Let's start from the beginning. Great opening, I thought. I mean, the effects weren't perfect, but it was a good opening because the first thing that happens is this, monster. I think they called it a succubus, but it didn't look like what I expected a succubus to be.
No. It was, I had it here somewhere.
Because somebody did mention a succubus. I don't know if they were talking about that thing you killed.
Kikimor.
Kikimor.
Yeah.
So they had that, and it was and so my first thought when that happened was, fuck, you got me. All right, I'm in, you son of a, I'm in. You got me. I'm all for it. There's like fighting. There's this cool monster we've never seen before. There's a cool setting. I'm like, this is going to be like Lord of the Rings or Dungeons and Dragons, but with new monsters. It's going to be awesome. Did you guys think the same?
Yeah. And at first I was like, oh, don't kill the deer. But, but yeah, no, it was exciting. And yeah, it grabbed me initially quite immediately.
Well, I think that this was like Netflix answer to Game of Thrones. Like Game of Thrones ends, and then Netflix is like, "Hey, we got this new show. It's based on a video game that you guys all love. It's called The Witcher. There's magic, kind of.
There's a story, kind of, but we're not going to tell it to you.
Right? Yeah, you just have to guess what it is.
Yeah, it's like a build your own adventure. You guess what you want to guess. You figure it out. You can create any kind of character. Yeah, it started off great. I think I wrote in my notes. I said, "Blonde Drogo kills Shelob." Right, because Shelob is the spider,
right.
Big spider in Lord of the Rings, or no, in The Hobbit, was it? No,
it was Lord of the Rings.
And yeah, blonde Drogo, right? That's basically we see what's going on. This is blonde Drogo kills
Superman,
Shelob.
Henry Cavill.
Couldn't believe that was him. Did you know that, Melissa? That was Henry Cavill from Superman.
Yeah, I like watching him. I mean, he's easy on the eyes,
Somebody that shall remain nameless. He seemed a friend of mine, because he's into witchcraft and stuff, and he lives up in San Francisco. And I asked him what he thought of The Witcher, and he said, "Well, it was pretty good for the reasons you mentioned, Melissa, but he got into graphic detail about why he enjoyed watching it and what he liked to do while he watched it." But then he said that he still couldn't get through it and still got bored and didn't watch the rest of it. So anyway, but I guess he liked Henry Cavill.
Henry Cavill is the point, right?
Yeah. So. But yeah, I've heard people saying that, that Witcher guy is hot, but when I saw him, he just looked weird looking to me. But I guess I'm wrong. He's hot, huh?
Well, I've heard a lot of people saying that they binged this show and like that it was good.
Well, I have to say that after watching the first episode, I gave the second episode a go.
Oh.
And
no spoilers. That's okay. That's for the end. But that's a good tease. That's a good tease. Yeah. Wow. Now that makes me feel like we'll tease. Find out if we're gonna watch the second episode at the end of this episode.
Yeah. Keep watching, and maybe you'll find something out about something.
Let's make this a podcast mission to make this podcast episode make more sense than the episode that we are reviewing. So far, I think we're winning.
Yeah.
So far.
We're beating you, Witcher.
We didn't have as good of an opening, I think, but it's averaging out. It's neck and neck. So Drogo goes to a tavern. He asks for someone called the Elderman. Oh, here's
Alderman.
Oh, is that what it was? I thought it was
Yeah.
just an old man he wanted.
I was watching it with subtitles.
Subtitles.
Yeah.
That's what I should always do. I forgot. That is what I usually do, and I
That's
didn't.
what I learned from you. You taught me that.
So here's something I want to bring up, and I guess now is the right time to bring it up because this is when I really heard him talk. Dude, nobody, okay, I say nobody, but I mean me. I'm not buying that fake gravelly voice, dude. Like, don't, everybody's taking, and not just that, but everybody talks. And the worst part is that it's such an unnatural voice for him, clearly, that it seemed like the entire show was in ADR, was redone in ADR, because he would turn around and he would be like, someone would say something and he'd be like, oh, well, why don't you go and get on my horse? Or he's making, that's what it seems like. But then in ADR, you hear, like, and I'm like, that voice does not match the action and the faces that he's making. You know what I mean? So it's like they just said, don't worry about the voice. We'll do everything in post. We'll redo it. So he's like, I don't know. It's just,
it's like we're watching a movie full of Rockies. Ryan actually does a pretty good Rocky impression.
Nothing is over. Just give me something to drink. I know that's good, but it's fun to do.
Yeah.
What did you think about their voices, Melissa? Am I the only person that noticed that? Am I being too much of a nitpick?
No, I noticed it too, and I was trying to be kind and say, well, okay, maybe it's just me, but I love the pinky, but but yeah, no, I noticed that as well. His voice was really.
Those of you watching, the camera was just on Melissa, so you don't know why. She just said, love the pinky. And rather than making everybody think Melissa's weird, we'll explain why. It's because while the camera was on her, we both took a sip like this. So now you're off the hook, Melissa. They won't all just be like, what was that pinky? What is she even talking about? That's the weirdest thing I've ever heard.
That's funny. The pinky.
Yeah.
But yes, I noticed the gravelly voice as well.
And they all did it, like all the dudes.
I did not notice it, and it was probably because I was just so flabbergasted by the terrible story that was happening that I was just like, what the heck is good? And that's just, they're trying to like, so here's the, all right. Back up a second. I'm getting a little bit excited here. Not excited, but just really
Flustered?
upset.
You're getting
Flustered by this show. Game of Thrones introduced a ton of characters, a ton of locations. In the first episode, they threw everything at us. And I'll admit that I watched the first episode of Game of Thrones twice to really understand what was happening. Yeah, but The Witcher does the same thing. I'm not going to watch it another time, I'll tell you that much. But they're trying to throw all this stuff at you all at once, and like, so the scene where the Witcher, Geralt of Rivia or something,
yeah,
he goes to see the sorcerer, and he's at the sorcerer's place, which is pretty cool. He's got this cool floating tree. He's got like naked women picking fruit and stuff like that. He's a little bit of an old pervert. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, yeah, if I were a sorcerer, I'd probably create like a floating tree and have naked ladies there too. But
Michael.
Yeah, I don't think my wife would care much for that. But this whole scene with the sorcerer is like 20 minutes long, and it's the sorcerer just telling him backstory the whole time. And it's so long that they have to cut to this other scene in Sintra, this completely different town that they don't introduce at all.
Basically, they gave us an intermission on that line.
Right. Yeah, it was just like an intermission between like this sorcerer just giving us this whole story, just like reciting the Bible to us, like word for word. Like, All right, geez, you can't just give us this information a different way somehow? Like, ugh.
That's the kind of stuff I would think you'd like. Mike loves wizards and sorcery,
I
guys.
love
so
wizards. Yeah.
every wizard he's ever met, he's loved. So if Michael says that this was kind of boring, yeah, and there was one good line in that scene. He kind of said, when Geralt kind of says, like, wizards have a way of speaking eloquently but not saying much, or whatever it was, and that was cute. That was cute. But kind of jumping on that point of, it felt like when you're in school and you're cramming for this test, the teacher says, here's all these things, they don't make any sense, but you have to memorize it all. And then it turns out that like only a quarter of those things are actually on the test, because we try to learn all these characters and try to make all the sense, and they all died, but half of them died. So why were we even learning about these guys?
Right.
I think they're trying to be like, how Game of Thrones killed people at the beginning and they killed their main character in the 9th episode of the first season? Well, take a look at this. We're going to kill 7 of them. Whoa, it's going to be so much better. But we're like, well, we want to watch the show and enjoy it, though.
Right. The curse of the Black Sun, the first full eclipse in 1,200 years, where Lilith returns, the demon goddess of the night, sent to exterminate the human race. And then all these girls were born during that eclipse, and then they had a mutation, and they had to be killed, and I killed them.
Wow, I don't even remember that. Do you remember
I
that
wrote
scene?
it all down, yeah.
Melissa, do you even remember that happening?
Well, I remember bits and pieces of that, because when he was at the wizard's place is when I got really distracted.
Yeah.
And it lost my attention almost immediately. And then and I tried it, so I rewound it because I was like, no, I gotta focus. I gotta hear what he's telling me.
This is obviously important stuff, right?
Right. And then I rewound it to this part, and then, oh, Mochi did this. And I'd get distracted again. So I watched that scene like 3 times to actually.
Mochi is her cat, by the way, guys.
Yes, Mochi is my cat. But yeah, and it sounds like an interesting story, but I think it's something that could be told not in exposition and more in action and, visually.
Right. If they would have cut to a scene where like you see the eclipse and you see Lilith and like she's a demon goddess and you see all these things, that probably would have been more interesting.
Yeah, and you see all the women giving birth during the eclipse and maybe something's happening and yeah. I don't know.
So what you're saying is this story could have been written better. It could have been told. The story itself might be good, but the script was not.
It might be, but we don't know. We have no way of knowing.
Okay, well, so far, this is a pretty mixed bag. So far, so good. The first minute was good, and so far, we're looking for the second good thing. That was a decent line.
Well, he also mentions Renfrey, and the only reason that I put it together that Renfrey was that girl from the bar earlier is because I wrote her name down. Like, I was taking notes during this whole thing, and I was still getting confused. Right.
I did the same. I was like, it took me a while to figure, I had to look on IMDb. That's how I figured out. I was like, oh, wait, was that the one at the beginning that said the thing that was supposed to be clever, I guess? Or I'm not really sure.
Yeah. So you're telling us that he's got to kill this girl that we met once, and we're supposed to like remember who that is for some reason. Like,
but then he did end up killing her, right?
Right.
I don't even understand that either. That doesn't make any sense to me.
They had like this courtship relationship.
Yeah, he laid with her in the woods, and then like she's like telling him like the lady in the woods is your destiny. And I was like, is that supposed to be her, or is it supposed to be this other girl that's running? It doesn't just
right. I don't know why they built that up for that. And then when she was fighting him, I was like, oh, that's cool. This is going to get them to like each other more, Like, oh, no, she's just going to die. I don't know. Did you even Do you even know what we're talking about, Melissa? Or did this because half the stuff you guys are saying, I'll be honest, I'm like, that happened? I don't even remember. So
Yeah, no, I'm following you.
Because I don't remember half the stuff that happened, honestly.
Because this is my first watch of the first episode.
Wow.
Well, and I understood it better on the second go round.
Okay.
Than the first go round, and maybe because I watched it the whole way through the first time, then it was like, oh, she's Renfrey. Oh, but I think they were trying to give the relationship more depth than it had, and that way the Witcher would be more conflicted by having to kill this woman that he slept with and who saved him in the tavern, and so give it more substance, something to grab onto emotionally. But unfortunately, I didn't get it. It didn't come across to me.
Right. It should be called the Switcher because you want to change the channel. Am I right? Or the Ditcher.
You got a second one in. Good job.
Or the Ditcher because you want to, I don't know.
Ditch out of there. Yeah, I mean, you bring up a really good point. It's like they just didn't have enough time together to really build that emotional bond for him to be as conflicted as he was.
Yeah. They could have just given us more actual story rather than that.
Well, I mean, he did kind of say it that, when he was talking to the sorcerer guy, like, hey, look, lesser of two evils is whatever. I'm not, and he said there's something where he's talking about like witchers aren't supposed to be white knights and they're not supposed to uphold the law or choose what's good or bad and stuff like that. So that's okay. I'll give them that one thing. But
what?
then it's like,
wait, what?
That he's got like a code. He's got like a
okay.
He works for coin. He's not. He kills monsters for coin. That's what he does. He doesn't get involved in right and wrong. He's not the law. He's not a white knight.
First time we've heard that storyline. Am I right? Okay. Well, let's move. I actually took the least amount of notes in this one of anything ever because I really didn't know what to write. There was just nothing to. But so yeah, he meets. I thought his name was like Strangleballs, but it was like Straggle. It was Strangle. Yeah, the sorcerer.
Right.
Then there was a queen, and she was knighting guys. That was kind of cool. You're like, oh, there's a queen, and she's knighting people.
Right.
Then they mentioned the curse of the Black Sun, but I don't know what. But I guess maybe that's what you were saying, Michael, earlier.
Right. The curse of the Black Sun is, I guess, it sounds like to me that there was this eclipse, and then this lady Lilith, who's probably supposed to be like Lilith, who's like a demon goddess. She was sent to exterminate the human race, and so I guess for somehow she implanted some mutation on all the girls that were born during the eclipse. And so I guess this deranged pervert of a sorcerer is going around raping and murdering these little girls because that's what Renfrey was saying, that like her men raped me or something like that, or it's like it didn't sound like she was treated very well by this sorcerer he's obviously a pervert. I mean, he's got naked ladies running around in his garden, picking his fruit for him.
Yeah, but to be honest, the actress that played Renfair, or whatever her name was, she was really good. So it was kind of a bummer that she died. I was, because you try to find silver linings when you're trying to trudge through something that's long and not great. And I'm like, oh, that's a good actress. I really like her. She seems really good.
We look forward to seeing a lot more of her.
What do you think? I actually found myself fantasizing about if The Witcher died. I was like, oh, that'd be nice. What if he died and like the show was about other people and stuff? And I was like, oh, that. And I was like, no, it's called The Witcher. It's not gonna. Right. What did you think of the acting, Melissa and Renfair?
I thought she was really good as well, and I enjoyed the acting. And the girl who was hired by the wizard, I thought she was really good too.
Mm-hmm.
And talking about killing rats and her dog, and
That girl, yeah.
yeah, she was interesting to watch, and it would have been neat to see more of her story as well, because I thought she would be more involved because of how much she talked. But I thought the acting was really good, and they have some really good actors in the show. I just wish the story was there to help support their acting.
Yeah, I noticed too, like, looking at the credits, there were a lot of Eastern European last names and first names. Like, it was very, very, very Eastern European heavy. So I wonder if they shot it in, Czechoslovakia, or sorry, the Czech Republic or Poland or something, because there are all these last names that end in the CZ, and those kind of things. Anyway, so that was something I kind of wondered about, but I didn't care to look and find out. But there was a lot of that. There were a couple lines I really liked. Here are my two probably favorite lines. One is when he's talking to Gargamel, the sorcerer, and he says, and Gargamel says whatever it was that some kind of prediction, and he goes, and Superman goes, doesn't rhyme. All good predictions rhyme. I was like,
Right,
okay, that's funny. I will give a point for that. That is funny. I wrote it down. I liked it. Another really good line, well, really good is a strong term. A good line was, I think it was, I already forgot. Oh, it was when the queen was dying in her bed, or not dying, or thinking she's going to die, or whatever it was. We all thought she was going to die, but then she said she wasn't. And
when I die, it will be more dramatic than this.
Right, which is cool. And she tells one of her guys, she says, she says that they're going to give up and they're going to send the girl away or whatever. And the guy says, destiny may yet side with us. And I was like, oh, that's a good way, because it looked like all hope is lost. He's like, well, if they believe in destiny, maybe destiny will, like, as if destiny was personified and makes choices. I'm going to pick these guys. I'm going to go on their side. So I really like that line.
Yeah.
That's all the good things I can say.
But I'll say that when they were at dinner in Sintra with the queen and the king, like, I like the king. He was a little bit of a rascal. Too bad he died right away. But yeah, like the queen was like, oh, these Niflgerms or whatever. I can forget the name. I saw it on the screen. I just never wrote it down. Niflguardians. Niflgard is on its way to Sintra, and like, they take no prisoners. Like, but she was going into this long explanation of the Niflgard and these people from over here and there, and like, that was like another place where they just completely lost me, and I stopped taking notes at that point, being like, I don't even care that much about this.
Melissa, help us out. You said you watched it twice.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she said she's seen the whole thing before, right?
No, just the first episode. So, and maybe part of the second. But what did you glean or learn or figure out in the second viewing that you didn't in the first, that might maybe give us a little hint?
Well, what I've learned through the watching of this, and I did watch the second and third episode, is that destiny is a huge part of the story and the entire arc. So maybe because destiny doesn't give us much to go on in life in general, and maybe that's what they're going for in the first episode, is that we have to see where this destiny leads us in this story. That's the only reason why I can say that, could think that it might be as choppy as it is, because we don't know where it's going yet. But destiny, I think, is a huge through line in the overall show.
Okay.
And which character was Destiny?
No,
No, Michael.
no.
But what if Destiny had a child? Would it be
Oh
named
no!
Beyonce?
Boo! 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 But they
Oh,
did say
no.
that the child was his destiny.
Right.
Right. Yes.
Or I guess the queen said, "Go find Geralt of Rivia. He is your destiny."
Of Rivendell, right?
And then
Gandalf.
Renfrey told the Witcher that the girl in the woods is his destiny.
Right.
And at the end, we see. That
So they have
Princess-
different destinies?
I think what they're trying to say, if they would have said it better, is that those two are each other's destinies.
Right.
Okay, so they are each other's destinies. It wasn't like his destiny is that person.
I mean, that's if I had to guess, I wouldn't
Yeah, that's
know
what
for
I
sure.
got from the second viewing and continuing to watch.
What a relief. So there was actually something that was deliberately done to make sense, hopefully.
Yeah.
You're my density.
Yeah. Then there were some good scenes. There were some things that were good. Like I liked it when the one dude is going door to door with the poison. When the euthanasia poison, I was like, that was a good scene. There was a good song in the background, some good scoring. There was good imagery. He's just going door to door and he says, it's time. There was a good montage there.
Well, there's a pretty good battle scene too. I mean, if you look
The
at my
fight scenes were
background,
great.
I mean, there's just like these two armies going at it. So it's like, all right, they're like, see, we're exactly like Game of Thrones. We've got a battle scene in the first episode, you guys. The very first episode. There's a war between two armies. Watch this show now that Game of Thrones is over.
Right. Although they weren't very clear as to why this war was happening.
Exactly. Yes.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah. It was the weirdest thing where we're watching some knighthood or a dance or something. And they say, oh, the Niffeldorps are coming. and they go, oh, okay. And we go, oh, what's the dinner? It doesn't seem important. They say, let's finish the dance. I guess it's okay. And then, their whole village gets slaughtered just right then and there. Oh, so that's it. So that's it. Then nobody cares.
Oh, they're probably not that close. Oh, they're here.
No, they're here. Yeah. I had to rewind it to know how she knew that they were here.
How did she know? Someone told them.
Someone told her, I think, yeah.
Yeah, maybe that was the times I looked away. But and I love the actress who plays the queen. I mean, I've seen her in a lot of other stuff, and she's a phenomenal actress.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I wanted to see more of how we got to this point.
So they got all these great actors, and they said, look, you only get like 2 or 3 scenes, okay? And why would I do it?
And then you die.
Oh, why would I do it? Oh, because this is going to be the biggest series ever. And maybe in season 11, we'll have some flashbacks with you in it.
It's like Game of Thrones.
Yeah, they're going to have conventions. They're not going to make any switcher jokes about it. They're all going to love it. Okay, I'll do it.
Sorry, your character dies in the first episode.
Yeah. I was thinking of that with Renfrey, and I was like, wow. She's got so much potential for this character, and then she's gone, and I'm like, that poor actress.
How did she die? I already forgot how she died.
The Witcher killed her.
The Witcher killed her.
But,
they're fighting.
But was it like a stab in the stomach or what?
Well, no, we had to rewind that also, too, because it wasn't 100% clear to us. But what happened was they were fighting, and she had her little knife, and the Witcher crossed swords with her and pulled her little knife up to her own neck.
Yeah.
He had her stab herself with her own knife.
So maybe
why are you stabbing yourself?
Yeah. So maybe the reason I asked was because maybe then she's not dead. Maybe she'll come back in a later episode because she was a good actress. I did like how one guy got killed. He got like thrust up against a door and then got his head cut off. That was
Right,
pretty,
that was
I
pretty
rewound that just to watch that stunt again.
These fight scenes, and I always have this feeling during fight scenes, is you see this dude slaughtering all these other dudes, and then this one guy thinks, oh yeah, I could take him. But
Yeah.
you can't take him because you just slaughtered 50 people in front of you. Why do you keep going?
Because he has a gravelly voice.
Oh.
So he's like, I have a gravelly voice too. I can take him. I'm his equal.
I can take him. Look at my axe. It's big and shiny and sharp. I can take him.
I want
It was a cool weapon, though. It was a really cool weapon, I thought.
It was.
Yeah.
But
I want to talk about the magic in this show. So there was magic, but it seemed pretty weak, pretty lame. Like, so first of all, I'm thinking, okay, there are these two armies at battle, and then the Sintra has a sorcerer. Why isn't he out there lobbing fireballs? And then so he does this protection spell over the castle, but then that fails. He's like, it'll last as long as I do.
Right.
And he was still alive, but his stupid spell failed.
That's what I thought that was a mistake, because she said, how long will it last? He says, as long as I do, which I took to mean that the spell will last as long as he does.
Right.
Because otherwise, why would he say that? Otherwise he would just say, like 3 to 4 minutes usually. Sometimes I got a lot of sleep, so maybe 4 minutes. I think
until
I'll be
I
okay.
got tired, and then I just can't do it anymore.
Because then it runs out, and I kind of like looked up. I'm like, well, what? Why isn't it working anymore? Is he dead? Was he shot by an arrow?
Kind of like in a game where your life or your energy just starts to drain. And
your
mana,
your mana gets used up, and then
and so he's got it lasts as long as his mana lasts, and
that's a great
gotta recharge.
That's a great point. Maybe that's probably how the game works. But then he really should have just said a few minutes or not long. But anyway, I thought that was such a weird trick that they pulled on us there.
Plus, then the Witcher has magic too. Right. So and somebody did call him a witch at one point too. So he's not just a witcher, he's a witch.
Right.
So what does witcher mean? And then it's so I got a lot of like Star Wars kind of vibes from this show, like
what is the difference between a witch and a witcher?
Yeah, I don't even know.
Oh, okay.
That's my point.
And he said there's no female witches, right?
Yeah, so what? Isn't a male witch just a wizard or a warlock or something? Like
warlock, or maybe just the Witcher.
Yeah, I
okay,
guess,
Melissa, you watched a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Did it explain what a witcher is?
No, it hasn't.
I'm shocked.
Because I'm still confused. But and I have to agree with Michael that the magic is kind of weak, and I want more. I want more from the magic and what it can do. But some of the questions that I had leaving the first episode have been answered in moments through where I've watched up to. So,
okay.
and it's gotten more interesting, and but there's still some very confusing parts too.
But does the Witcher have any other magic besides the force push?
I don't really know. He keeps drinking this liquid, and I don't know if that's supposed to give him more power.
Rum. It's
Mana
rum.
potion.
Oh, so they are taking a lot.
I don't know. I've never played the game or anything like that, but
you should follow up by playing the game.
Yeah, this show actually makes me want to play the game less.
Yeah.
Mm.
So you guys will be shocked to find out, maybe, or I was. When I looked it up on IMDb, I think I even looked it up before I started watching, or right at the beginning. and it had like an 8 or an 8 something on IMDb. I was like, wow, this is going to be good. This is going to be fun. And then I see the first scene and I'm like, okay, I'm ready. This is all right. Let's go have some fun. And I'm like, who the f- is rating this thing? Only people that played the video game? It was like an 8.1 or 8.2. Who is giving it such high marks? I mean, no offense. I'm not trying to say it's a 1.
This first episode has an 8.4.
Yeah.
Who's rating that?
Yeah, I don't know who's rating that.
People
The
who
gaffer?
think that Henry Cavill is nice to look at, I guess.
Ah.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think he's nice to look at, but I still wouldn't give it an 8.1.
Yeah, you're the 1.6 that voted it down.
I would have voted down completely either.
And I saw that the last episode got a 9. Averaged a 9. Like that's their average. A 9.
Interesting. I will say that it gets more interesting as it progresses, but yeah, you have to go, wait, what are they talking about?
Yeah, you have to sit through more episodes of this long show where you're falling asleep listening to all these different names of places and
I wonder
watching
if it would
their
be
lame magic and
weak magic. I wonder if it would be interesting if you got somebody that watched the entire first season and really understood it. Maybe they read the books and played the video games and whatever. And you said, hey, in 15 minutes, tell me what that first season was about. Right. I wonder if they can make it really interesting because they would just tell you what the actual story is about. They'd be like, hey, there's this Witcher guy. He's got some kind of weak powers. It's a sorcerer. Then the Witcher's destiny is this little girl. And then they go off on this adventure and then they meet these, and you start going, oh, this is fun story time. This is interesting. You know, I wonder if the actual meat and potatoes, the bones of this actual show, the storyline is actually really interesting. And it was just not executed well in the scripts, maybe.
Nope.
I tried.
Yeah, I think that it was not executed as well as it could have been. And I think there was potential for better storytelling. Because there's some interesting elements in it.
Right, yeah.
And
werewolf, succubus.
Yeah, and I want to see more of these things.
Magic. I was like, magic? There's magic in the show? Cool. Oh, that's the magic? Oh.
It's like Jubilee's superpower in X-Men. You know, everybody's got these cool superpowers, and Jubilee like throws like sparkly fireworks at people. You're like, you might as well just have a sword instead, because that's weak. But speaking of magic powers, Melissa Longo, let's talk about you for a minute, because because you are an actress. You also do some really creative things that you're working on right now. You also just recently joined the SAG union, making you an awesome SAG actor.
Ooh, I'm so excited, and I can't wait to be able to use my card.
Right.
Aren't you going to be, you've done some work for Star Trek Online, is that right?
That is in the works. They are figuring out how to put me in game so I could do a voice for an alien on Star Trek Online, which I'm looking forward to.
Do you have a preferred alien that you want to play?
No, it changes all the time. I was thinking it might actually be fun to play a Cardassian or a Romulan.
I was thinking Romulan for you, honestly.
Yeah. And I really wanted to play a Romulan after I watched Picard, because I think I could do a better Romulan. But that's horrible to say. But I don't know. It seems like a challenge that would be fun to approach. But I'm open to any alien that they give me.
Beyond sci-fi and Star Trek stuff, do you have like a specific type of character or genre that you like to play? Do you want to be the wacky neighbor? Do you like to play the love interest? Do you want to be like the action hero? What kind of characters do you like to play?
I've always dreamed of being the action hero. I like women who kick ass, and I want to be a kick-ass woman, doing all that. But I also like stuff with meat that grabs you and tells a story, and so I'm not really. I've never wanted to pigeon my hole myself into just, oh, you're the best friend, or you're the love interest, or because people are more well-rounded than that. So
Right.
I want to play roles that have depth and have fullness to them, and have good as well as bad, traits, and play characters that are as honest as they can be, just tell stories. I'm a storyteller.
Maybe you're more of a writer.
Well, I've been writing too during this time, and I've been working on a short film that
Really?
yeah, and I'm playing around with the title. Yeah, I don't really know that I like the title.
Are one of the characters modeled after you?
Yes. Yes. In a way. I mean, it's a fictional story, but there are some autobiographical elements to the story. So, and it's a dramatic piece, and it's really simple and takes place in one location, and it's hopefully the story will push it through, and it's not going to be long, maybe 15, 20 minutes tops.
Nice. Now's the time to do those kind of writing projects. Now that we're all in lockdown. So.
Yeah.
Yep. And you're also working on other things like cool projects and crafts and things that you're making, which will be available on your online store very soon. And when it is, we will put that in the comments or in the description box below. So check the description box and you'll see some goodies. Do you want to tell us about some of these goodies that are about to pop up?
Yeah, I have some t-shirts and bags and masks and other and jewelry and stuff that I've been working on, and I've always wanted to make art kind of functional, and so that's the main goal of the site, is to provide artwork that I've done and make it functional. So I'll put a drawing that I've done and put it on a bag or a t-shirt, and I create the screens for the t-shirts and bags and put them on. Yeah.
Michael, you use shirts and bags, right?
Every day.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
I'm literally wearing a shirt right now.
So yeah, I wanted to create artwork that you can take with you wherever you go and have with you throughout your day, and maybe it'll bring joy to people, and or maybe not, or maybe it'll make you think about something or inspire something,
You also mentioned that you did some voiceover for, oh wait, we can't even say it yet. It's a secret, right?
No!
For the animated short.
Yeah.
But when it's up, we will put that in the description box below. But let's just say it's pretty fun.
It is fun. It is a lot of fun.
I like fun things. Dang it.
I don't know. Can we say what it is, Melissa?
I don't know.
I'll go ahead and say it, so then Scott could just be mad at me. It's a fun little Star Trek animated parody.
What?
It's a fun little Star Trek animated parody.
What?
It's a... Oh. So, Melissa, do you want to say what voice you played?
Yeah. I voiced the character of Captain Carol Baskin. Yeah. So that was fun.
So it'll probably be done by the time this video's out. So check the description box below for that hilarity. I also played a couple fun characters in it, like Worf and Picard in it.
Give us your Worf impression.
I'm too shy. Mike always tries to make me do Worf impressions every day because it's so good. But yeah, just check the description box below, and you'll watch that funny video written and created by Mr. Scott P. Baker. Actually, I don't know middle name P. It's not a P, like an I or something. Anyway, or a B or a G or something. I don't know. Maybe it's an L. So anyway, stay tuned for that.
Maybe it's a Z or a K or a Q or an S or a U.
Yeah. I don't think it's any of those, but maybe. Melissa, do you have any guesses?
No.
Thank goodness. So let's finish off this episode. We're nearing the end. So we do have to ask the question, which you kind of answered already, which is, would you watch the second? We watched the first, but would you watch the second episode of The Witcher, Melissa?
Well, yes, I did watch the second episode only because I was like, okay, so maybe I missed something in the first episode. So I'll watch the second episode to see if it clarifies things further.
And now that you watch the second and third episodes for the purposes of clarity, now you've got a break, you've had time to reflect and to decide how you feel about the show. Would you watch the fourth?
Yeah, I would watch the fourth. I think that this show has potential to being better than the first episode. And it slowly gets a little bit better as the episodes progress.
Great. So, Michael, knowing that it slowly gets a little bit better in the subsequent episodes, is that enough would you watch the second?
I don't think so. Nah. Nope. No. Yet. Nine. Nay. No.
Okay. What about if we told you that the subsequent episodes are only 20 minutes long and they added comedy to it, intentional comedy?
I don't think that's the case, though. I think you're making things up to try to get me to watch it, but I don't think that that's going to happen.
Okay. Me personally, would I watch the second? I mean, Melissa makes a compelling argument. Had I not heard what Melissa said, if somebody just said, would you watch the second episode? I would say, no, it's not something I would think really hard on what's wrong with the people giving it 8s and 9s on IMDb. Because that kind of makes me think, am I the wrong one? Did I just not get it? But then the more I watch, I'm like, no, it's just not well written.
Yeah.
There are some good elements. And I do like fantasy the most.
Right.
So I might watch the second, but I wouldn't deliberately set out to watch it. I would not want to. So that's two probably nots and one probably yes. Okay, so we like to end the episode on saying what this episode was, what this podcast was, because we know what The Witcher was. What was this podcast, Michael?
This podcast was magic, and way better magic than The Witcher.
This podcast was better than The Witcher. Melissa, what do you think?
This podcast had better continuity than The Witcher.
Wow. This podcast was compared to The Witcher 3 out of 3 times.
Yeah.
Shows how creative we are.
3 out of 3 podcasters said that we compared ourselves to The Witcher.
2 out of 3 hosts just copied kind of what the first one said.
Yeah.
That's what I did. I was like, that's a good idea. I'm going to do that. Okay. Well, that's cool. What did you guys think of The Witcher? Tell us in the comments below, because some people love it, and I'm sure they have good reasons for liking it. Maybe it's great if you've watched or read the book or played the video games or something. Or maybe you're just a better watcher of things than we are. Maybe it should be called The Watcher. Because watchers like it. But let us know in the comments below, and let us know if you want us to watch the first episode of a particular series. It could even be on YouTube if you want. Just say WTF,
He-Man.
He-Man. Anyway, very special thanks to actress and entrepreneur Melissa Longo for joining us. Thank you so much. And for having that cool GIF behind you.
Oh, yeah.
Not literally.
Oh, yeah.
Not literally.
She's like, what? Get it away from me.
I forgot I had the northern lights behind me,
That's lovely. Yeah. Cool. So thank you all very much for joining us on Fallingtower's 20th anniversary extravaganza blowout. Watch the first podcast. Yeah.
Fun.
For Michael Kenyon Rosenberg, comedian extraordinaire, my name is Ryan T. Husk. Thank you all so much for joining us, and we will see you next time. That's not a good catchphrase. We need a better catchphrase.
Yeah, we need to come up with a better one.
Yeah, we need to be like, and watch the first.
Don't forget to watch the first of things.
I know, that's pretty good. All right. See you later, guys.